Let's take a look at what we have here. We have something called the human calculator, which is this woman here who just somehow is able to calculate a bunch of numbers in her head, seemingly. Okay. Now let's just have a look at some of the things she's done. She's multiplied 7 trillion and 2 trillion. Okay, and she calculated it, the 26-digit answer in 28 seconds. Okay, which is actually insane, okay, if you ask me. But that just goes to show us what our brain is capable of doing. Okay, our brain is capable of doing these things, but we just need to practice it. Now, we're not going to be doing this hard of questions. Okay, we're going to be doing a little bit easier questions, like estimating by rounding numbers. Okay, so this is a lot easier than what that woman was doing. But anyway, we're going to try and estimate, okay, by using the technique of rounding numbers up and down. So let's take a look at question number 1. So estimate the following, and we have a bunch of these numbers. Okay, now it's very difficult for us to just do that in our heads. So let's try and round these numbers to easier numbers that we can just add together. So for example, like this. Okay, now approximately 20. Now this little squiggly line means it's approximately equal to. Okay, so we can just write that squiggly line. So 19 we can round up to 20. Now similarly, we can round 22 down to 20. We can round 25 up to 30. And 45 we can round down to 40. Okay, now someone's going to argue, oh, but 45, if you round it, it's going to round up to 50. Yes, that's true. If you ask me how to round 45, yeah, it should be 50. But the question is to estimate, meaning we want the we want very close to the exact answer. Okay, but if we have a look at 25, we already rounded up to 30, and we have 45. I think it's better for us to round down to 40. Okay, so we rounded up once and we rounded down once. Okay, which will probably give us a bit more exact of an answer compared to if we rounded both of them up to 30 and 50. Okay, so try and keep that in mind. Now we have a lot of easy numbers now. Let's just try and add that. Okay, so those two gives me 40, and these two give me 70, which gives me 110. Okay, now I want you guys to just put that in your calculator and just try and test what the actual answer is. And the exact answer happens to be 111. Okay, so you can see that we're very, very close. Okay, so you can be very close when you're estimating numbers. Okay, so that's what we want to do. Question number 2. Now we have some multiplication. Estimate this. So let's try and change these numbers around. Now, this can be approximately 19 can go up to 20, and 12 could go down to 11. Okay, now again, this is estimating, so there's no one correct answer. You can round 12 down to 10. Okay, that will be very easy as well. But even 11, if we round a bit less down, it'll be a bit more close to the answer. And also 11 is a very easy number to work with anyway. Okay, so that's why I chose 11. Now, let's times this together. It'll give me 220. Okay, now if I put 19 times 12 into my calculator, the exact answer is actually 228. So again, you can see that it's actually very close. We can estimate very close by rounding numbers up and down. Okay, let's have a move on to question number 3. So we have division this time. Estimate the following. 528 divided by 11. So how should we round this? How should we round these numbers? So 528, let's round that to 500. Okay, just simply 500. And 11 we can round down to 10. Okay, now if we just simply do that, it'll give me 50. Okay, and again, let's just try and check to see how close we actually were. The exact answer is 48. So again, you can see how close we can actually get by rounding numbers and estimating them. Okay, let's have a look at the next question. Okay, now the next concept here, we have adding and subtracting 8 or 9. Okay, now we'll go through how to do these in some of the questions. Okay, now this question. Evaluate the following. 53 plus 9. Okay, now plus 9. Okay, so that's what the concept we're working on for this moment. What can we do to plus 9? What we can do is we can add 10 and we can take away 1. Okay, so intuitively those two lines are the same thing. But adding 10 and taking 1 off is a lot easier than just adding 9 straight away. Okay, so let's try and add this. We get 63, and then just take 1 off, it's just 62. Okay, so we're just trying to think about how what we can do with our plus 9, we can go plus 10 and minus 1. Okay, now similarly, in the next question we have adding 8. So evaluate 77 plus 8. Okay, now I know some of you can probably just do this straight away, but let's try and think of other ways to answer this question. So like the last question, we can add 10 and just take 2. Okay, just taking 2 isn't a big deal. So what do we get? We get 87, just take 2, 85. Okay, so when we're adding 8 and 9s, this is what we can do. We can add 10 and take 1 off, or take 2 off for the 8. Okay. Now question 6, we have 51 subtract 8. Okay, so we're going to be very careful about our signs. Now similar idea, let's try and take 10 and add 2. Okay, so just be careful when you do this that these two should be the same answer. Okay, now 51 minus 10 should give me 41, and just add 2 on top of that, it'll be 43. Okay, so and again, I'll re-emphasize that 51 minus 8 isn't the hardest question in the world. We can probably do that anyway, but it's just very important for us to understand different ways to do it. Okay, so we're trying to think about using our brain, okay, to our advantage. Okay, we're trying to think of easier ways to do questions like this.